Good morning, everyone. Fiona here from Core Confidence, and looking forward to Kate joining me in a moment. We were just remarking on how it is virtually the end of August and how fast this year has gone. Just joining Kate now. And
hey,
hi there. How are you going?
Good. We have success.
It's always such a conundrum with the technology. What's going to work? What's not?
Even more so this week. As you know, we're moving. So, internet, I think, is always painful. And of course it is here. Anyway, I'm sure it'll be 3 weeks before it's on. Luckily, phone internet is pretty good these days. So I'm joining live from my phone. So what are we talking about today?
So we're continuing our look and examination of this whole notion of working hard, but how to do that strategically. So rather than getting caught in, some dead ends and some traps that are pretty easy to do, what is it that we can do differently? How can we actually get to that place where we know, that enough is enough? I've done the hard work. I've done the part that I need to do. What else is required?
And I think this is the one that people rely on too much. So, know your stuff and work hard are the two that we anchor into. We see this, all the time. We were in doing a, in a law firm doing a lunch and learn, and the conversation always comes up without fail around what more education do I need to do, and shall I go study more? And this was out of this is from someone who is quite senior, who's got good education but really loads of experience. And I think the challenge, we acquire knowledge, obviously through education. Also, and education takes many forms. So formal, informal, and I'm a big advocate, as you know, for the informal. So the natural, and you do this a lot as well, lots of reading, you access lots of content through Twitter and, acquire lots through that, and also through experience. And I think the trick with this one is not, how do I go and acquire more stuff? I think people are pretty good at that. It's actually, when do you recognize that you've got what you need and you stop? And you don't rely on this one too much. And often the trick here is to actually work the process through, so that if you get asked a question you can't answer, if you're the subject matter expert and you don't know, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? How easily it relates so much to other elements of the book, that notion of facing fear. And when we unpack what's going on and why I want to know so much and why I want to keep doing courses and why I want to keep getting more formal education, a lot of that is sometimes oriented in this need to have the answers and be right and be almost all-knowing. And we just know that's a trap. It's not going to give you what you want, and it's actually impossible in the world we live in now. And information is ubiquitous. As you said, you can get it everywhere. You can get content online. Answers are everywhere. So it's how do you hold yourself well in those moments, and how do you sort of have a combination of this wonderful subject matter expertise, which of course you do know enough, like we all know enough on our area of expertise. How do we hold that well in those moments when we question ourselves or someone else questions us? And this is the part that we think is really interesting. And the reason we devote so much time to talking to the inner elements of core confidence is because that's where the juice is. That's where it gets really exciting. And when we've actually got some depth and some groundedness in those elements, then it makes that, combined with our subject matter expertise, makes us unstoppable in any situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you're talking, I'm just really reminded of the mirrors of ask for help and face fear. That piece, what often comes up is I can't ask for help because I'm supposed to know this. And the expectations that we see, and particularly in our work, women put on themselves, this is how hard I need to work. This is how much I need to know. And that real heavy expectation. I'm often coaching clients around this, particularly early in roles where, we've left a role where we've got great relationships, where we know the systems, we know the people, we know the business. And then we've come into a new role where we don't know the systems, we don't know the business, we don't have relationships to rely on. and it feels really uncomfortable. And I often say to people, particularly as they're assessing their own progress in those first couple of months, just manage your own expectations, because you're comparing yourself to where you were when you left your prior organization, which was probably, 2 years experience in that business. So there's a piece here around being able to, lean into asking for help, because I think that's part of Know Your Stuff. That is a smart way to acquire knowledge. That is so it's smart, it's the short way, but again, I've seen people take the long way. So, do the work so that any of the roadblocks or the obstacles, and, this has always been a big one for me. I'm getting much better at it now. But, what's the short way? The other day, something came up and I was like, who do I know? Who can I call? I've got an amazing network. So, why wouldn't I leverage the amazing skill, capability, and experience in my network? So I think it's that one, but also, this fear of what will happen. And actually a good friend was doing her first presentation to the board. So she's just gotten a promotion. Doing a presentation to the board, and, we were having that conversation around expectations and, knowing enough and what's the 3 different ways you can respond when you get asked a question you can't answer. Actually come up with that language so that is there, that is present. You can just grab that and respond with that, rather than going into the fight or flight reaction, the brain shutting down, and just kind of, going into that really uncomfortable awkwardness of, I don't know, and a lot of that self-talk that comes up at that point.
Yes, yeah, it's, this is such an interesting one because it's so multi-layered, and, it's so easy to get down a path of, feeling as though there's no way back. And then, of course, if you do have the experience you're describing, and you do kind of, you falter at that point of asking a question, then of course we beat ourselves up even more, sort of saying, oh, well, then I look like a fool because I couldn't even, say something, eloquent about, actually, how about if I go and check on a couple of sources around that and come back with some good options. And as you say, it's how do we hold ourselves in those moments and know what our alternate paths are. And, it's something in a way that we can practice some of those things, and we can also do the other work of things like focus and presence. How do I, keep breathing through those moments where I do feel as though, oh my God, I should know something and I don't. And rather than judging ourselves really harshly and sort of going into that, we can kind of go, actually, just give myself a moment here. And who knows, half the time it probably pop into your head. And the other half, as you say, manage it in terms of, you've got 2 or 3 responses and you feel comfortable saying that. And people will respect that. I think in this day and age, other people's expectations are not that everybody knows everything, because that's simply impossible. But it's really this piece about managing our own expectations. It's so important. So, really encourage people to, get in touch with the inner work, that, those inner elements of core confidence, that inner game, and really make sure you've got that solid within you, because when that's there, then this external stuff and what's coming at you, you can handle it. You actually can be okay with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the beauty, actually. The fact that, there is so much information everywhere now, it is almost impossible. So it's actually a gift, because I think there's freedom in that. And just the ability to show up, be authentic. And so to your point, I think that, nearly all of, the inner work, chapters 6 to 10 of the book, really talk to how do you navigate some of the challenges that come up when we try to rely too much on Know Your Stuff. Well, I think we'll wrap it there. It talks so much to, I think, some of the opportunities people have in the work they get to do on themselves, and how to potentially lean away or lean back from relying on that one too much.
Great. Yes, I agree. We say, we get an opportunity to practice our core confidence every day. This is definitely one we're all going to have to work on. So we can take that with us. And, if you have any questions, pop them in the comments below. Get on to the website if you want to download a chapter of the book.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Fee. Talk to you later. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kate.